So in your ebook, I have listed the studies that show the benefits of practicing each of these techniques: mindfulness, cognitive behavioral therapy, and emotional freedom technique. With each of them, there are so many benefits to practicing. I'm going to run through a few of them now, but you have the full list and the studies in your ebook to look at. So what is mindfulness to start with if you've never practiced mindfulness before? Here is a quote from Jon Kabat-Zinn, the founder of the mindfulness-based stress reduction course. Mindfulness is about paying attention deliberately and without judgment, as best you can, to what is going on in your body, your mind, and the world around you. So we practice mindfulness to learn how to completely be here in the present moment. Because as we've just talked about, the emotional distress or emotional highs we can feel are generally because we're looking to the past or looking to the future, whereas here in the present moment, 99.9% of the time everything is fine. It's only when we go, but this happened, but this hasn't happened, that we freak out. So we're learning to just be here in the present moment. So the benefits of practicing mindfulness there is so many. Lower stress levels, returns the body to its natural state of relaxation, improved sleep, cognitive behavioral function, increased signaling connections in the brain, reduction in negative feelings, allowing you to better handle pain, makes you more compassionate, decreases feelings of loneliness, reduces inflammation in the body, so if you have endometriosis or something else like that, amazing. Gives you time for yourself, increases your patience, your trust, your acceptance, your creativity. Allows you to reconnect with your true self and develop intuition. And a really good meditation session can feel like a really good orgasm. Oh, I know. Maybe just to start with, and obviously don't have that as the goal, but as you get into this and you really understand yourself, for some people it can feel like, this amazing release and connecting in with joy. On that note, getting a spiritual high is why many people practice mindfulness. And I ask you just to put that whole list of the things that you can get and just pop that to one side and just practice mindfulness, because we're practicing mindfulness. We're using it as a learning tool, but there are so many benefits. But in the most part, meditation can be really, really boring. Really boring. It can be hard. The negatives, the sort of downside, is that it only works if you practice. Takes dedication. As I mentioned, it can be boring. You can start to rely on meditation as a way of escaping. So definitely I did this, that when I couldn't cope what was going on, I was like, I need to go and meditate and just go and close myself off for an hour. And actually I was using it to kind of escape rather than embrace my reality. You can start to feel that you need to practice for longer and longer to kind of give you more benefits, but it doesn't really work like that. It's more set yourself a time each day, each week, and actually even a few minutes can have a tremendously positive impact. You can start to use mindfulness to try and block out your feelings. So this is why I team mindfulness, where we are learning to observe our feelings, cognitive behavioral techniques where we're beginning to question our thinking, and then emotional freedom technique where I allow it to really embrace it, let it come up and release it. This is why I team all three, and then we're bringing in the cognitive hypnotherapy, the neuro-linguistic programming, the visioning, etc., etc. But these three are the core foundation of the course, and then we're adding other things in as well. So I write in the book that yes, you can kind of pin all your hopes on mindfulness as like, oh, this is the thing, it's going to be amazing. But it's about creating that practice, and it's an ongoing journey, that it's not about like you practice and you get really good at it and then you're like, woohoo, I'm so calm, I'm so great. It's more like we're learning, and life is this journey in every area, including our mindfulness practice. Mindfulness is about opening ourselves up to the negatives as well as the positives of life, and really allowing us to see and look at everything that we're experiencing. So throughout the course, I'm going to be including journal excerpts of when I first was using these techniques and bringing them to my own fertility journey. So in your ebook, there's one where I share about my first experiences of mindfulness. So you can check that out. And it shows the change that I experienced between doing the body scan early on in the course and then right at the end, and the shift that I experienced. So cognitive behavioural therapy. This allows us to see that our thoughts and feelings play a fundamental role in our behaviour. The goal of CBT is for us to understand our thinking and be able to see how we can interact with that thinking and change it to change our behaviour. So the benefits of CBT are, the research has shown it's as effective as medication in treating many types of depression and other mental health issues. It allows you to realise that you are not your thinking. It's a tool to allow you to change your thinking. It has a faster impact than other therapies. P.S. Cognitive hypnotherapy is even faster. And it can be useful in everyday life. The negatives of CBT is that it can be quite harsh and it can make you think that your thinking is wrong. So I want you to kind of be aware of that it's not so much that you notice your thinking and you're like, oh no, I shouldn't be doing that. It's the noticing is where the power is. So for the first few weeks, it's going to be noticing these things and just praising yourself for the fact that you've noticed. And then the shifts come and the changing of the behaviour. But the first step is to notice it. So embrace that. CBT only focuses on your current point in time. So this is why I trained in cognitive hypnotherapy, where we're actually able to go back and shift the beliefs, whereas CBT is more about like the present moment and dealing with what thoughts are coming in. Whereas with the EFT and the cognitive hypnotherapy, we're going back and playing with our beliefs. So on to emotional freedom technique. Emotional freedom technique, EFT tapping. I absolutely adore this technique. It is completely bizarre and off the wall, but please give it a chance because the shifts that you can experience with this technique are immense, and it is something that you can do at home for yourself. You can also choose to work with me or another practitioner and take it even deeper, but with this technique you are able to go deeper yourself. You have the same transformation as if you're working with a therapist, but you're just doing it for yourself. It is amazing, and this is why I've chosen EFT as one of the core pillars of this course. EFT uses the same energy system as acupuncture, but instead of using needles, we're using our fingertips to stimulate different points on our face and body. Harvard studies show that by stimulating different acupressure points on the body affects the hippocampus and the amygdala, the parts of our brain which govern fear, the fear response, the stress response. And a separate study by researcher Dawson Church, PhD, looks at a different component of the fight or fright response, cortisol levels. And that EFT is shown to lower cortisol levels. So studies have actually shown that EFT lowers our stress response. Love it! So the actual action of stimulating these points on its own, if you only did that part of it, would be lowering your stress response. We then bring in the psychology and the language of EFT, and this is where we can get really clever, and this is where we can start changing your beliefs and just changing the patterns, which, as we've talked about, are influencing your decisions on how you move into your future. EFT is already being used by the National Health Service and is used by the American Army to treat soldiers with post-traumatic stress disorder. It is one of the most powerful techniques you can use where there has been trauma involved. And obviously, experiencing infertility, whether or not that includes pregnancy loss, is traumatic. Infertility in itself is traumatic. Then you bring in treatment, pregnancy loss, all the other crap. So having this tool in your back pocket is so beneficial. So the benefits of EFT are it's safe, it's easy to learn, and needs no equipment and no skill. You can use it wherever you are, so once you know it, you can just do it. So throughout this course, I'm going to be sharing videos where you will tap along and copy me in the video, but very quickly you will find the points when you first watch the video, like, how am I going to remember all this? Very quickly you will remember them and be able to tap through. It's been proven to restore the body back to the relaxation response, which has all the same benefits as mindfulness, reducing stress, anger, frustration, anxiety, and improving the immune system. It gives you instant benefit in most cases. It's an easy way to ground yourself. So being ungrounded is whenever you're feeling in one of those negative emotions, so disconnected, agitated, angry, whenever you're basically not feeling short and strong, so you can use this to bring yourself back to balance. It deals with the negatives of mindfulness and CBT and the fact that we're encouraging you to accept and embrace reality and then helping you to shift it. It neutralizes fears and phobias. It can clear guilt, grief, confusion, can relieve trauma as mentioned, improve self-confidence, relieve pain, clear emotional intensity of past events. And EFT is measurable, so we actually give ourselves a score and then score again after we've done it so we can see the benefit that it is having as well as feeling it. The negatives of EFT is you basically feel a complete plonker doing it, but that's okay, just go with it. It takes persistence to keep tapping on things, so with some things you might just tap around once and that's it, never comes up for you. But it's like the layers of an onion, you remove each layer and then something else might come to the surface, or you need to keep looking at the same topic again and again as you work through different layers of it. EFT means that you actually have to face reality and embrace it, and that can feel really scary and really confronting to start with, which is why I offer the support alongside this group. So you can come into the Facebook group and ask questions, you can come to the group support, you can book one-to-one sessions with me, get the support you need to be able to really make the most of this. And you can have ab reaction. Ab reaction is when you start to look at something and then whoosh, it all goes a bit out of control and you're like, whoa, I don't feel better, I feel so much worse. That's okay. This is quite a rare occurrence when you're just doing tapping on your own, but I want you to be aware of it. In most cases, just keep tapping, tap round on the subject. If you really can't bring the level down, so say you start off and your intensity goes right up to a 10, it's feeling really overwhelming, just keep tapping and do that what if round. So this will make more sense when you've watched the video, but you tap around like, what if I could get a grip of this? What if I could release that? And tapping around. And if you're still not able to control it, then reach out, and that's where you have a one-to-one session and we can really dive deep. The benefit of working with a therapist is it's kind of like with massage. So if you're a massage therapist, you can give yourself like a really good arm massage, you know all the techniques, you know how to calm yourself down. But if there's like a spot right in the middle of your back that you can try, but you just can't get there yourself. Sometimes EFT can be like this. We also, our subconscious job is to protect us. So sometimes we won't allow ourselves to go really deep into things to keep ourselves safe. Whereas working with a therapist, it is my job to create that safe space for you, to hold that space and to guide you throughout so you can just relax into it and go with the technique and feel very safe. So you have your tutorial EFT video. Please do watch that this week and start tapping. And like I said, it's a very bizarre technique, but give it a shot because we can do great things with this technique.